Hi, team. Welcome to another conversation with Joy. We are on the journey discovering joy for competitive greatness. And Joy, thank you for the gift of you. You have been right here with us week after week. I know that you have personally been going through a lot professionally. There's always so much from a basketball coach perspective, and you've been committed. You've showed up. You've really wanted to give hope to other coaches. And just thank you for you and your commitment.
Thank you, Carlette. It always means a lot to be here. And so I look forward to it every week.
Yeah, it's such a gift to be able to really anchor in giving hope, and just know that as coaches and as sports philanthropists, that it's not always about giving money. It's just about giving. And our conversations are all about, what can we give a coach or anybody listening to really give them hope to set them up for a great week. So this week's topic is all about well-being for coaches. You have been an athlete, you've been a college coach, you've been a pro coach, you're a sports life coach. You've pretty much got every coach component going. And so what are your words of wisdom when you think about really winning well-being as a coach?
I think winning well-being is really thinking about what you like, what's important to you, what's a 10 for you, what makes you feel good, makes you happy. The people that you like to hang around. I think all those things are so important because we just go sometimes day to day. And a lot of times as coaches, we're caring for so many other people within programs or within an organization. And so a lot of times coaches don't take time for themselves, and then, some coaches have families, children, spouses, partners. And so there's so many things that they give up and sacrifice and not really spend that me time. So I think it's really important for coaches to anchor into, what are some things that I like to do that I enjoy, thinking about their health. I think that's very, very important, especially in these days and times, just being mindful of taking care of ourselves and taking care of our bodies. So I would just say, spend a little bit of that time, just thinking about you and being, in a sense, a little bit selfish about, just taking care of yourself.
Well, we are models for our athletes. And so we're so intentional about athlete well-being and really just having some new thinking that, am I modeling what I want for my athletes? Am I really living it to be able to give it? And so let's talk about time management, because I think that is one thing from a coach perspective. As you said, there's always somebody to be taken care of. There's film to watch. There's so many things, especially as a head coach, really all coaches, there's so much to be done. We all get 24 golden nuggets, so we all get that same amount of time. How have you really learned to invest it for your well-being so that you show up and you're able to optimally perform as a coach?
I think in terms of time and thinking about your day, there's always, as coaches, there's so many interruptions and distractions. And obviously as coaches, a lot of times you tell your players, anybody that stops by, your door is always open. So sometimes that makes it difficult to really stay focused on your day and the things that you had planned to do. But I think at some point as a coach, you have to, and if you're a coach that exercises or likes to read or spend some time, I think it's important to figure out what is a ideal time for you to do that, when you think about your day. And I think there's nothing wrong with, as a coach, being able to just maybe close your door for an hour and let whomever your assistant is, everybody has assistants these days, administrative or whatever it is, to just really take that time and do what you want to do, that, and again, being a little bit selfish that, hey, during this hour, I'm not available. And so if that's before the workday, you might not run into as many issues, but once the workday starts, say 8, 9, things can just kind of go in a totally different direction. So I think really figuring out what it is that you want to do, your ideal time of day, that it's a 10 for you to do it. And again, if it's sometime during the day that you want to have some free time in your schedule, make that happen, because it's most of the times as coaches, you're in control of that schedule and you can do that.
Well,
and don't feel guilty about it.
Thank you. Huge winning strategy. Yeah. And you're talking about rituals and routines, and we train our athletes. We set them up so well on rituals and routines. I mean, pretty much from the minute they wake up till the minute they go to bed, we've laid out what's going to be happening. And so really being able to build in well-being into our life, into our day, it's really about training for our well-being as much as we're training for, the championship or training for whatever it is. And just really honoring it with that same intensity that we do with everything else. And so rituals and routines, huge winning strategy. Let's talk about why from an energy management perspective, because I know that that's been a gift that you've really learned through our sports life coaching, is just the power of energy management and what it does for well-being. So share what you've learned on that journey.
Well, the big thing I've learned is just the different sources of your energy, just not physical or mental, but everything, spiritual well-being, emotional well-being, everything is important, and all of them fit in together. So I think when we think about well-being, we don't just think about, obviously we think about getting enough sleep, eating the right things, but really just honing in on what's good for you in terms of your spiritual well-being, spending some time alone, doing whatever you do, mindfulness, prayer, emotionally, are you enjoying what you're doing, those kinds of things. And I also think it's important well-being wise for, especially with coaches with families, young ones, even spouses, maybe no children, but just spending time with those, making time for those family members. Because I think a lot of times coaches can feel guilty because we spend so much time in our job, and just making that a part. Hey, this is family time. I think that those coaches that do that feel so much better, and don't feel as guilty, because it does take a lot of time. And I think as you spend time with your family, that can just help you so much more, and build that also into your day, because that takes a lot of energy. That guilty feeling sometimes that we have, that we didn't spend time with the people that mean the most to us, and we have regrets later. So I think that's really a winning strategy, to think about those people that are important to you, and make time in your schedules, maybe certain time a week or whatever it is, to make that happen.
So you're talking about relationships, just the power of relationships for our well-being. And you know what? There's fabulous and not so fabulous relationships, right? So we've got those energy vampires. We've got people that really just do not set us up for our well-being. And yet we can feel really obligated, or feel like we have to, just rescue them, whatever the language is. We can really devote a lot of energy to people that aren't necessarily for us, or aren't necessarily for our well-being. So what are your winning strategies for just that relationship management for your energy?
Well, I think it's important, you have to compartmentalize sometimes, and things that might not be going well in some area of your life. You have to keep that there. And so, because if you don't, I think that can really eat into your emotional energy, just having that energy that you need, again, for the people that you're leading as a coach, the people that you're around. And, obviously there's going to be some times where there are energy vampires. And so just really, again, not putting all the emotion into it, like it's human nature to just be emotional about it, but just really confronting it if possible, and just, seeing it for what it is, and making that person maybe aware of the situation, because they might not be aware of it. And so I think you can save some of that energy, and not just with the anger and those kinds of things, because anger just completely zaps your energy. Passive aggressiveness zaps your energy, or dealing with people that might be in that realm. So I think that really just talking about it, communication is so key. And, I think too, as coaches, one thing with relationships in terms of, our staffs, we manage people, manage staffs. And I think when you can make those people know that well-being is important to you, and it's okay that you want them to spend time with families, I think you get a lot more out of your subordinates and the people that report to you. And I think that will result in a much better situation, a winning situation for you and your organization.
Oh, Joy, great words of wisdom from that perspective. And so also let's talk about emotional management, because as we talk about well-being, if we are appearing as if everything's fine, but internally, our internal dialogue and really just how we're feeling, our heart, our mind, our spirit. Are we feeling on purpose? Are we feeling valued? Are we feeling appreciated? Do we feel connected to the people that we love and care about? So from an emotional management perspective, what have you learned? Let's talk about really the performance barriers, because it's one thing to talk about what does work and be like, yeah, I want that, but I have no idea how to get it. So when you think about emotional management, what have you learned, and what performance barriers have showed up for you?
Performance barriers for me that might have shown up are just maybe not being able to express myself or figure out, just overthinking things in terms of, well, I'm thinking too much about it, or I need to go ahead and communicate this, and I keep it inside. And I think when you do that, instead of just going ahead and having a discussion, that's maybe been a performance barrier. So what I've learned is that, if there is any situation, emotional management, I just need to talk about that, communicate it, talk, whether I'm talking to myself and confronting it, or just to a person, just really anchoring in truth. This is the truth. It's not, and again, trying to keep that emotion out of it, because I think that's where a lot of people get, in a situation where it goes worse because there's so much emotion. And so the thing that I've really learned is to kind of look at the situation for what it is, and manage my emotions that way, not try to get too high, too low.
So Joy, in terms of emotional management, it's easy for us to talk about it. And yet that's why I bring up that performance barrier, because boy, when our heart is in it and when things matter to us, it's easy to get really emotional and to feel like somebody doesn't understand us, or to feel like someone's against us, or any of those things. And so let's just talk about the gift of really being for each other and anchoring in that identity and that understanding, because I know in our work together, it's so nice to be able, the minute that I feel any emotion showing up for the teams I coach, the coaches, being able to start my self-talk or any language with, I'm for them and I know they're for me. So immediately we're connected on a human to human relationship component. And then, we're all competitive. So it's like we can kind of fight it out from a conversation of what we believe in. It's not about just giving up or surrendering to it, but it's really just about being for each other and pushing us to be better and greater at our communication and what we're doing. And we all know we're not great at it, for goodness sakes, even though we get all these reps with it. So what have you learned for the tool of really just anchoring, being for you and for whoever you're speaking with?
I think one big thing that I've learned in terms of being for, like, before you moments is, just watching my film and really thinking about a time about people being for me and in that situation. And it makes me feel good, and so, and I think about, in return, I'd like to think that I've been able to show people that I'm for them through my actions, through giving hope. And so I think the big thing for me is kind of, just really thinking about, a big thing is, are you for yourself? Are you for you? And so, are you for your coaches? Are you for your teammates, in terms of, our world? And so I think it's really important. And if you're not for you, or you don't feel that, why not? Just really people thinking about what they need, to feel good about what they're doing, or feel good about themselves. Because if you don't, it's going to be hard for other people to do it. So I really think that goes a long way, and especially being for your teammates. Because when we think about teammates, not just the players, but also people on the staff, people in an organization, from the president of the organization down, just being for each other and being able to show that through not just our words, but through our actions and our gifts of service.
And Joy, in terms of well-being for coaches, it's all about being for ourselves and for our other coaches. And if we anchor in that, then it's like, okay, I am taking time during the day to be for me and to exercise or to eat well or to read or to do something. I'm being for me so that I can be a better coach and be for my teammates. And as I listen to you, I think about that simple analogy of, we really can't give something that we don't have. So if I don't have any energy, or if I'm not for me, how am I going to be able to give that to other people? So it's just amazing in terms of when we think about this well-being for coaches, that it just starts with us. And for those of us, we're such givers. It's so interesting that we leave ourselves out of the equation.
Absolutely. And that happens a lot, and I talk to coaches and always try to stress that, especially with younger coaches that I have the opportunity and the privilege of, helping some, and just talking through things with. Is just really think about yourself, and take care of yourself, so that you will be able to take care of your staff and take care of your players. Because so many coaches, like so many other people, but have such big hearts and want to take care of everybody, and want your student athletes and, people that you coach to have a great experience. And I think that's the thing that, sometimes we think about that, and then when we look back on it, it's kind of like we're, so drained
Right.
emotionally, physically, and did not take that time. So just huge word of wisdom to just be for you and take care of yourself first.
Great words of wisdom for winning well-being. So Joy, thank you so much for our conversation today about how to really anchor in being for us and win well-being for coaches. Talked about time, energy, and emotional management, huge winning strategies as we really set up for a new season and anchor in being competitively great. So thank you for just the conversation today. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Carlette. Always enjoy being here.
Okay, team, it's up to you. Go out and win your well-being. Be a champion for you. And this week, practice time, energy, and emotional management for your well-being. Thank you, Joy.
Thank you.